Hello students, welcome to the class. Uh, in the previous classes we have completed chapter 1 and hope you have completed all the question answers. In case of any doubt you can ask anytime. Today we are going to start reproduction in plants. So today's our chapter is reproduction in plants. Here we will see the key concepts, means what we are going to study in this chapter. These are the types of reproduction, various methods of vegetative propagation, various methods of artificial propagation. They are the types of asexual reproduction. Then sexual reproduction in plants, structure and parts of a typical flower, pollination, types of pollination, self and cross pollination, agents of pollination, artificial pollination, fertilization and germination of seeds. So first we will study here the asexual mode of reproduction, that is first three parts here we are going to study today. So what is reproduction? Reproduction is the process by which living organisms produce more organisms of their own kind, as it is clear from this term reproduction. Re plus production. Re means again, production means to produce. So here the living organism, they produce more organisms of their own kind, and the ability of an organism to produce offspring is one of the most basic feature of their life. Reproduction is essential for the continuity and survival of a species. We can understand, if there will be no reproduction, then the species will not be produced there and new individual will not be produced, then their survival will be in danger and the species will be no more on the earth. So it is essential for the continuity and the survival of a species. Now we will see the types of reproduction. There are two basic modes of reproduction, asexual and the sexual. What is sexual reproduction? The production of offsprings or new progeny from a single parent without fusion of sex cells, which are known as gametes. This is known as the asexual reproduction. And this form of reproduction involves only one organism, single parent. Since only one parent is involved, so the offspring or the children, they have exactly same feature as the parent. So exactly same offspring is produced in this type of reproduction. Now the examples of the animals or the organisms in which this asexual reproduction takes place, they are bacteria, fungi, algae, mosses and ferns. Now we'll see the sexual reproduction. What happens in this type of reproduction? In this type of reproduction, two organisms or the two parents of the same species, male and female, they are involved, and each sex contributes reproductive cells or gametes. Means the male organism or male individual produces male gamete, which are known as the sperm, and female organism or female individual produces the female gamete known as the eggs. So here fusion of male gamete and female gamete takes place to produce the zygote, and the zygote further develops into the new individual or offspring. And here the offspring which is produced by the sexual reproduction, it has mixed feature of both the parents. So offspring with the mixed feature of both the parents, because two parents are involved. So here the offspring is not identical to either parent. So what is sexual reproduction? That sexual reproduction is the production of offspring due to fusion of male and female gametes or sex cells. Now this type of reproduction takes place in higher plants and animals. So we will study here further the various modes of asexual reproduction in plants. So asexual reproduction in plants is very common in the lower forms like bacteria, fungi, algae, mosses and ferns. Now following different types of asexual reproductions are in the lower plants. They are binary fission and multiple fission, budding, fragmentation, spore formation. We'll start with the binary fission. Binary fission means, here binary means 2 and fission means splitting. Thus binary fission is the simple division of unicellular organism into two small daughter cells of roughly equal size, and these the daughter cells which are produced, each daughter cell grows into an adult individual which divides again and then form the new daughter cells. So this type of reproduction is observed in bacteria. You can see in the diagram here the one bacterium cell is there. This bacterial cell now further divides and form the two daughter bacteria. They further mature and again divide and form the new bacteria, and this is found in the bacteria and the euglena also. Now sometimes what happens during unfavorable conditions, some organism develops a thick protective covering called cyst. So here we will see the next method, multiple fission, where that some cells they form a protective covering in unfavorable condition, and this protective covering is known as the cyst. Now inside the cyst organism, further the cell divides repeatedly to produce many daughter cells, and when the condition gets favorable, the cyst breaks open, releasing the daughter cells. Each daughter cells further grows into the new organism. So this each daughter cell develops into the new organisms. So this is called as multiple fission. Thus in multiple fission, many individuals are formed by splitting of one parent, a single parent cell. Understood? So such production is seen in unicellular algae like chlorella and chlamydomonas. This is the diagram of chlamydomonas. In the chlamydomonas, multiple fission is observed. Now next we will come to the method budding. In budding, a small bulb-like outgrowth appears on the body of an organism. This is unicellular organism yeast. So small outgrowth appears. This is known as the bud. This bud develops into a new organism and finally detaches from the parent, separated from the parent to lead an independent life. So this is budding, means reproduction by bud, and this is observed in yeast, which is a fungus. So understood children here the method of asexual reproduction by budding. Now next we will come to the fragmentation. Fragmentation means here the reproduction by the fragments. In fragmentation, the body of an organism breaks into two or more parts. You can see here the various fragments are formed from the parent body, and each fragment develops and grows into a complete individual. For example, filamentous algae, Spirogyra. So Spirogyra reproduce by this method. So this is Spirogyra, one filament, and further it breaks down into many fragments, and each fragment develops into the new Spirogyra. So this is fragmentation. Now next method is the spore formation. In some bacteria, fungi, mosses and ferns, reproduction takes place with the help of spores. Now what are the spores? So spores, you can see here, these are the spores. They are tiny, spherical, unicellular bodies protected by a thick wall, and they are formed in spore sac. You can see these bodies are known as the spore sacs. So they are formed inside spore sacs. During favorable condition, Each spore develops into a new individual on being released from the spore sac. Braid mold or rhizopus. It reproduces by the spore formation. So, understood, children? The spore formation method in the braid mold. Now, we will come to the vegetative propagation. In some flowering plant, a new plant can arise from a vegetative part such as a stem, root or leaf. Means stem part develops into a new plant, root part develops into a new plant, or a part from the leaf develops into a new plant. So, this type of that method is known as the vegetative propagation. Vegetative means root, leaf and stem, they are the vegetative part of the plant. So, new plant arising from the vegetative parts, hence it is vegetative propagation. And it takes place in plants which do not produce seeds or whose seeds cannot germinate. It is a type of asexual reproduction as there is no fusion of gametes and no seed is formed. Now, vegetative propagation can occur by natural as well as artificial methods. So, both the methods we will study. By natural methods, by underground stem, aerial stem, root and by leaves. By artificial methods, cutting, layering, grafting and tissue culture. So, let me see further vegetative propagation by the natural methods and in natural method by underground stem. So, we will see the different types of underground stem. First, we will start with the tuber. Tuber is the swollen underground stem. Example is potato. Potato tuber has small buds, many small buds, and these small buds are known as the eyes, each of which can grow into a plant, a new plant. So, this is the vegetative propagation by underground stem, and type of underground stem is the tuber. Now, next type is the rhizome. Rhizome is a short branched underground stem. It has distinct node and internode. So, node are the places from where the leaf arises. Okay. So, node and internodes are present on the stem, and at this node and internode buds are present, and these buds they grow into the plant, new plant. Example, ginger. You can see this is ginger. So, ginger, banana and canna, they grow from rhizome. Next we will see corm. So, in corm it is a thickened round underground stem that consists of swollen base surrounded by scaly leaves. It has one or more buds on it. Nodes and internodes are also present over here. Buds are also present, and these buds they grow into the new plant. And examples are the like gladiolus. Next we will see the type of stem is bulb. So, bulb is also the underground stem with a bud and the membranous leaves called scale. So, you can see the fleshy scale. Example is onion. You have seen this is onion. So, it has the membranous leaves which are known as the scales. You can see these are the fleshy leaves inside the onion and a bud inside it. So, that grows into the new plant. Understood? So, garlic, tulip, lilies, onion, they are the example of the bulb stem. So, understood? By underground stem, tuber, rhizome, bulb and corm. Now, we will see another method in natural vegetative propagation by aerial stem. In some plants like strawberry, I will show you here the strawberry, a cylinder branch arising from the base of the stem grows and bends to touch the soil. It develops roots and buds at the point of contact with the soil and develops into a new plant. Same is seen in the grasses also. In some grasses also, in mint also, the stem grows along the soil, forming roots at intervals and giving rise to new plant. When the new plant is mature enough, then the part of the stem joining the new plant withers away and the plant grows its own. So, this is the method in which the reproduction takes place by the aerial stem. Means it is through the stem which is present above the soil, aerial stem. Now, here you can do the activities also, like in you can study the vegetative propagation in potato also. Activity 1 is given in your book. So you can keep a potato tuber in moist place for few days, but you see the potato tuber must contain the that eye is the bud on it. So buds must be there on the potato, and cut it into the 4 pieces such that each piece has an eye or a bud on it, and put each piece in the pot containing soil and keep the soil moist. After few days you will see that each bud of the potato grows into new plant. And children, you can do this activity at this time also at your home. You will see that how potato grows into the plant. Same we can do with the onion also. By keeping a healthy onion bulb in moist soil for few days and sprinkle some water on the soil every day. What you observe, after a few days you will observe that a new plant emerges from the soil. It shows that the onion bulb has an axillary bud that grows into a new plant. So these activities you can perform at your home also, because potato and onion are easily available. Now, after the aerial stem, we will see the next method by root. So, natural vegetative propagation by the root. Plants such as sweet potato and dahlia have fleshy tuberous root there with the adventitious buds, and these buds, when detached and planted in the soil, can give rise to the new plant. Example, dahlia. So, this is the vegetative propagation with the help of root part, where the root which contains the bud, when we detach it from the main root and grow into the soil, it develops into the new plant. So, this is by dahlia. Now, by leaves. In some plants like bryophyllum and kalanchoe, they produce adventitious buds at the margin of leaf. You can see this is the margin of leaf and it contains adventitious buds. Now, when the leaf falls on a moist soil, these buds develop into small plantlets. You can see the small plantlets. And the fleshy leaves, they supply food and water to the plantlets as they grow. You can see these are the buds. Now, when they fall onto the soil, these buds grow into the tiny plantlets. They get the food from leaf, and these plantlets now grow into the independent plant on separation from the leaf. So, understood children? You can see here this is bud and it develops into the plantlet, and small roots also develop, and when it detaches from the leaf, they grow into the complete new plant. This also you can do, because this bryophyllum or kalanchoe easily available in the garden. So, taking this leaf with some adventitious buds, detach some of the buds and put them in soil, you will observe after a few days that new plant start growing from the bud. So, all these activities you can perform these days, because this is rainy season and it is the good season for the growth of the plant. So, you can do all these activities at your home. Now, next we'll see the vegetative propagation by artificial method. Previously we have discussed the natural method. Artificial we can understand here, this is done by the human being. So vegetative propagation is the faster method of reproduction, and hence it is used in the gardens and nurseries also. The methods that have been adopted by human being for vegetative propagation is known as the artificial method or artificial propagation. Some of these methods are cutting, grafting, layering and tissue culture. So we will study here the cutting method. In this method, what happens? This is cutting in sugarcane here. See, cutting method, a part of the stem with an axillary bud is cut from an healthy plant and planted in the moist soil. So from a healthy plant, a stem cutting is taken and it must have the bud on it. Okay, over a period of time, roots develops at the lower end of the cutting. You can see here the roots are developing, and buds at its upper end develops into the new plant. So this is the artificial propagation by growing the new plant by stem cutting. And cutting is extensively used by the gardeners for the rose, bougainvillea, cacti plant, sugarcane. This is the example shown by me here. Sugarcane and pineapple plants, they are also grown from stem cutting. So understood, stem cutting is there shown in the cutting method. Now layering. Layering, in this method what happens? A branch of the plant is bent. You can see branch of the plant is bent and a part of it is covered by soil, and after a few days roots develop from the main plant planted in the soil. It grows into a new plant. Okay, so the branch is then cut off from the main plant, because you see here, as the root develops, this branch is cut off from the main plant and it grows further into a new plant. This is the parent plant and these are the branches which are covered with the soil. So as the new plant develops here along with the roots, then it can be cut from the parent plant and now it develops into a new plant. This is layering. And lemon, rose, jasmine, these are the plants which are grown by this method. So after layering, we will see the next method, grafting. Grafting is a method in which two different plants are combined. So students, you have seen cutting and layering, only one plant part is there or one variety of plant is used. Here in grafting, two different plants are combined to obtain a plant with superior quality. Superior means the best qualities. So here we'll take two parts, a stem cutting called as scion. This is stem cutting called as scion from one plant, and it is attached to or the tied to the rooted part, that is a stalk. Means two parts we are taking here, the root part, that is stalk, and the shoot part, that is scion. So they are selected from the two different varieties of the plant. Now this shoot part is known as scion and root part is known as the stalk. Both are attached and tied properly. And now after few days, this scion and stalk, they merge together due to rapid division of the cells and bulb develops. And the stalk, this is the stalk, it supplies nutrients to the scion. And grafting, in this manner, the grafting helps in developing a new variety by combining the features of two plants, because we are selecting root and shoot part from two different plants. And it is usually done in plants like mango and rose. In rose, it is done to get flowers of different colors on one plant. So this is grafting. After this, the last method is the tissue culture. So in tissue culture, in this method, as it is clear from the name tissue, so the new plant develops from the tissue. In this method, plants are grown artificially in test tube under laboratory condition. This technique is known as micro propagation also. Micro means the small part is taken here. Propagation, that is the reproduction. So here a small piece cut off from the growing part of a plant. So growing part, which one? Tip of the plant, which is the growing part. So small, that piece of the plant cut from the growing tip of the plant, which is known as the explant, and this is grown into a suitable nutrient medium. Further, it grows into an unorganized mass of the tissue or the cells. This is known as the callus. This is the unorganized mass of the cells or a tissue known as the callus. Now, some small parts of this callus are put in another medium containing hormones to induce cell differentiation. So, for more growth, hormones are added to this callus region, and then it develops into the new plantlets. These plantlets are further transported into the there or transplanted into the soil to grow into the mature plants. Now this is the method of tissue culture. So since an unlimited number of plants can be produced, this technique used for the propagation of ornament plants such as chrysanthemum, asparagus and orchids. So understood, children, the tissue culture method. So vegetative propagation by artificial method, we have done cutting by stem cutting, layering, where the branch of the plant is bent and covered with soil, grafting, two different plant parts are taken here from two different varieties of the plant to produce the superior quality, and tissue culture, where the new plant develops from the tissue. After this methods, we will study the advantages and disadvantages of the vegetative and vegetative propagation. So advantages are there. Vegetative propagation is the faster method. So it is a quick way to produce the new plants than growing them from seeds. So plants which grow from the seeds, they take time, but here this vegetative method is the faster one. Here another advantage is there, that the good characters of the parents are passed to the offspring. Yes, if the parent plant has the good characters, then these are passed to the offspring. External factors or other that plants are not needed for the reproduction. So no external factors or other plants are needed. Here plants which are produced by the vegetative propagation, they bear flowers earlier, means flowering takes place earlier than those produced from the seeds. This vegetative propagation is extremely useful for the production of seedless plant, as I discussed it already earlier, like banana, grapes, sugarcane, they are seedless plants. So in them the vegetative propagation is very useful, and new plants which produced by vegetative propagation are exactly similar and can survive even in the unfavorable condition also. So similarities are shown by them with the parent plant. But there are disadvantages like overcrowding. At a time, if the natural propagation is there, then at a time many plants can grow in the small area in the soil, and they face competition for the resources, and diseases of the parent plant can easily transmitted. Suppose the parent plant is the diseased one, having infections there, that can be passed easily to the offspring. No new features in the offsprings are there to adapt to any change in environmental condition, because the new offsprings produce they are exactly similar to the parent plant. Undesirable characters are also passed which we do not require. These features are also passed, and over a period of time newer generation of the plant produced via vegetative propagation lose their vigor. Vigor means strength. The plants which are produced continuously by vegetative propagation, uh, they do not have much strength, they are the weaker one. And offsprings from the same parent have same features, so they are prone to the same infection. Suppose the parent plant has the particular infection, or if the parent plant is prone to the particular kind of infection, so the offspring produced by this plant also will be prone to the same infection, and now it can result in the destruction of an entire crop. So this